Right, welcome. This is my review of Vin Diesel's Bloodshot, or I guess more aptly put, the Valiant comics Bloodshot. Now, look, straight off the bat, is this a good movie? Should you go and watch it? Should you venture outside and brave the good old CV that's floating around? You know what I mean? I can't say it. YouTube likes to demonetize. Yeah, I mean, it was fine. I enjoyed it. I wouldn't say it's something to worth like rushing out for, but it was enjoyable. And in an industry, in a kind of like a landscape of movies where we're bombarded with Marvel, DC, and then all of the Disney properties, it was kind of fun. I enjoyed it. Now, it has a lot of issues, but I went into it expecting dumb fun. And I got that, but then I also got a reasonable storyline, pleasantly good action, and, you know, for what effects that landed and that were practical, were pretty decent. But again, I'm not talking about the detractors yet, so before you think I'm, you know, just blowing smoke up this film's arse, hold on, alright, because it definitely has some problems, and I will get to it. But for the most part, it was actually, it was pretty enjoyable. I would watch another one of these. I would watch the story continue. Let's put it that way. And that's the, I guess that's a good barometer of whether it was good or not. If I can go back into the universe and, you know, willingly, then it's pretty reasonable. Now, if you've, this is like a non-spoiler review, FYI. I'm going to go into as little spoilers as possible. But if you've seen the trailers, you have seen, for the most part, the whole movie. And it's a real shame because they build it up. In the movie, they build this story up and then reveal it as if they don't know that they've already revealed it in the trailers. So it was very, very odd. Really odd. And really annoying. Because they actually built that up quite smartly. So if they hadn't revealed it in the trailers, you probably would have been shocked if you didn't know anything about this character. I think it would have actually surprised a few people. So, whoever decided to let the trailer people reveal everything, please get fired. Because I think you're probably going to let this film down quite a lot. You could have marketed this film as Vin Diesel, man, Marine, goes on a mission of revenge. Just that. You could have just done that. Or, man, dead, goes on a mission of revenge. Just that. You know? You didn't have to reveal anything in the trailers like you did. And then, like I say, the fact that they built it up very smartly, because it was done quite smartly, I'll give it some props for that, in the movie. Really strange decision. And does let it down. Now, we've got Guy Pearce in this. Guy Pearce is an awesome actor, but he always ends up in really strange things. I don't know why he decided to do this, and it's not a slight on him. I just think he's, I don't know, I mean, he's the best part about it. He's really good. He's good in everything that he does. But, yeah, props for him for doing it. He obviously thought it was good fun. Probably saw some potential, and I do think there is some potential in this. And it was, yeah, it was decent. So he was good. Vin Diesel was very, very good. Obviously, as Ray Garrison or Bloodshot. Isa Gonzalez, she needs to be in more stuff. She was very good in this. Although, strangely, there was some very odd moments that appeared almost as if directed like for a music video. Like she's, I don't know, again, not a spoiler, but in one scene she's walking down a corridor with like smoke grenades going off. And she's like pouting and looking and stuff. And all I could think of was, damn, you look hot. But this does look like a music video. What's going on here? But she's awesome. She is actually, I really like Isa Gonzalez, and I think she should be in more stuff. Now, one of, like, a reasonably large villain of this movie was Sam Huan. Butchered that. Soz. He was pretty decent. Fine. This is the thing about this movie. Everything was pretty alright. There's nothing to really scream and shout about. There's also nothing that was overtly offensive. Though there is some bits which I didn't like, and I'll get to in a minute. Calm down, I will get to it. But for the most part, it was pretty good. I would more than be happy to go back into the world. Pacing was a little bit off in parts. Technically, Everything was shot to a reasonable degree. There was some odd angles here and there. Everything looked pretty fine. There was some weird dubbing. They definitely dubbed over some people's voices. With that, I hands down bet you they dubbed over some people's voices in this. They also got some locations completely incorrect. And they also, now we're going to go off into things I didn't like. I'd recommend the movie, but let's talk about the stuff I didn't like. Location, spelling out locations. Stop doing that. We're not stupid. Especially when you're then going to mention the location that we've already seen and you told us about in the dialogue. Don't do it. Opens up Kenya or somewhere like that. Then we go to Budapest and you're just like, well, this is nonsense. Stop telling me. Okay? Stop telling people this. It's not relevant, actually. Half the time, it's not relevant to the story. So you don't need to pop it up on screen as if it's from the 90s. Right? We don't need it. Okay? Good. Secondly, if you're going to tell me that you've gone to London, because they go to London, actually go to London. They filmed some stuff in the back streets of Mexico. I swear to Christ. They're doing this chase scene down in what is supposed to be London. And I'm like, mate. The license plates are not right. That is definitely not London. Like, the roads are not right. The streets are not right. And it's not even... You might think to yourself, well, that's you're nitpicking. No, I mean, it's completely different. Like, it is without a shadow of a doubt Mexico or somewhere like that. Like, it's just not London. And you're like, come on now. My suspension of disbelief can stretch. But obviously, I've lived in London. I know London. Come on now. Looks a bit dumb. The British accents. A whole bunch of British people will probably not like this movie to some degree, or they'll frown upon the accents. They were really hammed up and definitely forced and not particularly great. But I don't think Americans will really notice it that much. I don't think they'll care that much. But then there was some weird dubbing over. And going back to the London thing, they even got the police cars wrong. Like, we don't have big pickup trucks for police cars in here. Like, we don't have, like flatbed pickup. It was fucking weird. Anyway, I literally couldn't get over that. It was super strange. The CGI is pretty good. The budget for this movie is very small. It's about 43 million, right? Tiny budget. Real small budget. You got to remember, Deadpool was lauded as absolutely fantastic, and that was on a budget of like 60 odd million, I believe, or 80 million, which is a damn sight more than 43 million, especially adjusted for inflation, right? They did a lot with that budget. They spent the majority of the effects work on the nanites, on the effects of Bloodshot Vin Diesel recuperating his body. And that effect is good. I like that effect. It's not going to be to everyone's taste. You can see it here. You either like it or you don't. But I personally quite like it. I think it's a decent effect. And they definitely spent the majority of their money there. Because everything else, i.e. some of the villains, again, we've seen it in the trailer, some of the villains jumping about and stuff, does look like a PlayStation graphics. Which, again, that's not... Is that an insult in this day and age when PlayStation graphics are pretty good? I wouldn't say no. It's passable. That's the thing. Everything that is bad about this film is pretty except for London, is pretty passable. There's nothing outstandingly terrible, except for one thing, which I feel really lets the movie down, and it's the score. So there's some moments which you're supposed to really feel it, really high octane action. Score doesn't build up the hype, doesn't pick up the pace quite enough. There's some moments which are supposed to be story beat emotion, and it just doesn't quite do it. Whoever they've hired for the score in this, fire them, or pay them a little bit more to incentivize them to do better. Because again, that's what really lets it down. Because there's some really good action scenes in this. Some sloppy editing with the action scenes, but good action nonetheless. And it is definitely let down by a poor score. There's some laugh out loud funny moments in this as well, actually. Going back to some really good stuff. Tony Kebbell, he's in this. And it is Tony Kebbell, isn't it? Yeah, it's Toby Kebbell. He does a little dance. Epic. Didn't think I'd ever see that. Really cool. Like, he's good, and he needs to be in more stuff. Again, laugh out loud moments. There's some dick jokes. Some of them land, some of them don't. There's jokes about... yeah, there's some offbeat humour in this, whether I think it's geographical. So I think maybe Americans will laugh more than UK guys. But I had a good time. I was pleasantly surprised by the amount of people in my theatre. I'd recommend going to see it. It's not offensive. It's one of the best things out at the moment. So if you really want to go out, you're sick of being indoors, you want to brave the rain and the wet and the CV pandemic, enjoy. I think you'll have a good time. A good popcorn flick. Good dumb fun action. I'll be happy to return to the franchise. I hope they do it. I hope they make some money. 43 million? Basically no marketing. I think they'll make some money off this. But seriously, get your geographical locations right. Don't tell me that they're there either, because there's no point, especially if you're going to reference them in the dialogue. Don't tell me what an EMP is. They did that. I hate it when they do that. Oh, it's an EMP. It looks like they've got an electromagnetic pulse. And you're like, look, dipshit. We all know. Everyone knows what a EMP is. But then the other thing is, and what everyone needs to remember about this, is it's 12A in the UK, which I guess is PG-13. So, yeah, you do have to cut it some slack. And I say that because it's very clearly not aimed at incredibly mature adults, right? So there's certain bits and pieces that won't appeal to me, or I will view a little bit negatively because of my age and, you know, obviously what I do with this anyway. But someone younger, the age bracket, will probably like it a lot more. So, anyway, love to hear your thoughts on this. If you've seen it, if you're going to go watch it, based on my recommendation, I would recommend it. It was good fun. I've been Mr. H. Take care.